welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good! And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good! Okay, well, let's learn English together. Welcome to Friday, people. Welcome to the day which is 2 days after Boxing Day. That day where, in the UK, people traditionally go to visit their relatives and take presents to other members of the family and stuff like that. Normally, you celebrate Christmas Day with only your close family. Then, on the 26th of December, on Boxing Day, you get up, have a light breakfast and get into your car before you drive out to see your grandparents and aunts and uncles, cousins, nieces and nephews and other members of your extended family. That said, maybe you're the ones who live in the middle of everywhere, in which case all of your extended family probably come over to your house and everyone meets there. And let's face it, that might be simpler. You don't have to drive anywhere, you can have a drink if you fancy, and you're at your own home, in a place you know better than anyone else. Then again, if everyone comes to your place, then that means that you've got to do all the cooking, you've got to lay the table, find enough plates, glasses, cutlery and chairs, and you have to make sure that everyone's got a drink. Then, when you're completely knackered, you'll have to sit there and wait until everyone leaves before you start cleaning up. Okay, so maybe that's not a better situation. Then again, at least you can just fall asleep on the couch and deal with everything tomorrow, can't you? I don't know which is better or worse. You'll have to decide on your own. Still, there's obviously some sort of tradition in your family, isn't there? So, well, the chances are that these things have already been decided long ago. So, well, just make do with what you have to do. All right, back to the mince pies, and with any luck, we'll be able to finish the recipe so that you can try your hand at making the things this side of Easter. So, we've got the recipe for mincemeat without meat, but never mind, you can always bung some bacon or a bit of kebab in if you fancy. All right, let's look at the recipe. Now, before we start, I'd just like to let you in on a little secret. The ninnies, the dim-witted muppets who put this recipe on the internet, thought that they'd help everyone by providing hyperlinks. You know what hyperlinks are, don't you? They're the underlined bits in text that you see in documents and on the internet. They're underlined to show that you can click on them, and if you click on them, then your computer opens up a page on the internet which is connected to the underlined bit. So, for example, if you're reading an article about, llamas, you might find a hyperlink in the text. Click on that hyperlink and possibly you'll find that your internet browser opens a map of where llamas come from, or a picture of a llama, or something like that. Something connected to the thing you're reading. Something which might help expand your knowledge. Okay, fine. This is new, modern, and probably really cool and all that. But the people who put the hyperlinks into this recipe, well, let's just say that they weren't the sharpest tools in the shed. The hyperlinks, which I've removed, don't worry, were connected to 6 items in the recipe. 6, not 7, 6. There are 7 items in this recipe, but the people who put this up on the internet thought that one of the items was so commonplace, so ordinary, so run-of-the-mill, so unremarkable that it didn't need a hyperlink. Guess which one that was? Can you guess? I bet you can't.
A shirt. A car. A bus. Bus. Of course. It's a song title. A theme from a summer place. We win! We did it, Captain!
Not now, Norberg.
No, you're all wrong, especially you, Nordberg. A shirt? The theme from a summer place? What are you on about? No, I'll tell you. The one ingredient which apparently doesn't need any explanation is almonds. Everything else, from mincemeat, well, okay, that's justified, through plain flour, sugar, butter and eggs to milk. Those ingredients are so confusing that the people who wrote the recipe, or perhaps the people who put the recipe up on the internet, they think we need help in identifying these things, which is, in my view, quite patronizing. Okay, so moving on, and ignoring the fact that these people think that we're idiots, let's have another look at what we need to do, shall we? Well, is there anything we need to check in the list of ingredients? No, not really. We know that diced butter just means that we have to dice the butter. We have to cut it into small cubes. The egg has to be beaten, which just means that we have to mix the egg yolk and egg white together with a fork or whisk. I'm not sure if we've seen the verb to sift before, but it's a simple one. To sift is to put something through a sieve, one of these. Okay, so we sieve or sift the flour. We pass it through a sieve to make sure that there are no lumps in it and to make sure that more air gets into whatever we're making. That'll make it lighter. Now, there is one more thing that we need to look at, the verb to glaze. The recipe tells us that we need some milk to glaze something with. Okay, so what's that all about? Well, in cooking and baking, if we glaze something, we cover that thing with something smooth and shiny. So in this case, we're going to paint something with milk so that it looks nicer when it's ready. That's all. Okay, so we've seen the ingredients. Now, what do we have to do with them? It's time to have a look at the method. Lightly butter a 12-hole pie tin. Tip the mincemeat into a bowl and stir so that the liquid is evenly distributed. Rub the butter into the dry ingredients by hand and stir in the egg. Bring the mixture together with your hands, wrap in cling film and chill for an hour or so. Thinly roll out the pastry on a floured surface. Cut out 12 circles with a fluted pastry cutter large enough to fill the base of the prepared tin. Press gently into each hole, then fill with the mincemeat. Cut out another 12 slightly smaller discs and use to cover the mincemeat. Press the edges together to seal. Make a small slit in the top of them, then brush lightly with milk. Chill for about 30 minutes. Meanwhile, preheat the oven to 200 degrees centigrade. Bake the pies for 20 minutes until golden brown. Remove and place on a wire rack and serve warm. Okay, well, let's make a start. Lightly butter a 12-hole pie tin. Okay, so smear some butter into the holes in the pie tin. One of these things. Okay, well, that's simple enough. We don't want the mince pies to stick in the tin, so we smear some butter. We coat the inside of the pie tin with butter so that the pastry doesn't stick to the tin. The butter's a lubricant, that's oil. Like oil, but better tasting. Then what? Oh, okay. Take the mincemeat and stir it about a bit so that it gets nicely mixed. Next, now we have to put all of the dry ingredients into a bowl and rub them all together. Fine, get stuck in, get your hands messy. When it's all mixed up nicely, rub the butter in, and when that's been absorbed, then we can stir the egg in. But remember, the egg goes in last. Now what? Well, now we have to bring the mixture together. Great, and what does that mean? Well, all that means is we have to press the mixture together with both of our hands to make it stick together in a big ball sort of thing. After that, wrap it in some cling film. That stupid plastic film you can wrap food in to keep fresh. That stupid film which sticks to everything you don't want it to. I hate this stuff. Anyway, even if I don't like it, and even if it always sticks to everything in the kitchen, somehow we're meant to wrap the mix in the plastic film and bung it in the fridge for an hour or thereabouts. After that, what? Okay, take the mix out of the fridge and put it onto a floured surface. Okay, dust the kitchen with some flour, and then take your rolling pin and start rolling the pastry, the stuff we've just taken out of the fridge, until it's thin. Then, using a pastry cutter, a fluted pastry cutter, that is, not an ordinary one. And here, let me just tell you that fluted is just another way of saying something that has got grooves in it. So, we don't want one of these. No, we want one of these. Okay, so take the 12 discs we've just cut out and put them into the pie tin holes. Press them down into the hole, but do it gently. Don't squash the pastry into the hole, but gently press it in.
I thought you said you knew how to fly this thing.
I said, how hard could it be?
Well, whatever you're doing, brother, I suggest you do it faster.
Shut up, Loki.
You must have missed something.
No, I didn't. I'm pressing every button on this thing.
No, don't hit it. Just press it gently.
I am pressing it gently. Stop. Whack!
Okay, now fill the pastry with the mincemeat. Simple. Now what? Well, now we have to make the lids for the pies. So cut 12 smaller discs out of the pastry, then cover the mincemeat with these. Squeeze the edges together with your fingers to seal, to close the pies, and then cut a slit, a thin, narrow cut in the top of the pie. All right, easy. Now what? Well, now we need the milk for the glazing. For this, we'll need some sort of brushy thing, something that the writer of the recipe didn't warn us about. So, quickly, have a look about the place to see if you can find something to brush the milk on with. No, that's not a brush. That's a comb. Try again. Oh yes, that's a brush, but that's a clothes brush, not a pastry brush. Have another look around. No, that won't do. It's a brush, yes, but it's a hairbrush. We need a pastry brush. Have another look. Ah, that's more like it, yes. Finally, a pastry brush. Great, now dip the end of the brush into the milk and brush some milk over the top of the pies. When they bake, the milk will dry into a glaze and make them look nice. Okay, now, what we have to do now is very simple. We have to turn the oven on, and whilst we're waiting for it to reach the correct temperature, we have to chill the pies. So, back into the fridge they go, pie tray and all. Then, when the oven temperature reaches 200 degrees, we can bung them into the oven and start baking. Bake them for 20 minutes until the mince pies are a lovely golden brown color. If everything went well, then they'll probably look something like this. However, if something went wrong, if, for example, you forgot to smear some butter into the pie dish before you started, then it's quite possible that they'll look something like this. So you might need a power tool to get them out. Still, never mind. Cut the burnt bits off and eat what's left. All right, people, that time has come again. The end of the lesson is nigh, and so it's time for us to leave you once more. So, if you're planning on doing some cooking, then have a good time. If you're heading out into town to have a good time, then make sure that you have a good time. Friday night, people. Friday night, and we're still all feeling festive as a result of it being Christmas. But that doesn't mean that we can relax our hygiene standards. Make sure that when you go out, you're wearing some of that perfume you got for Christmas. Don't, whatever you do, start or finish the evening smelling like a homeless dinosaur's armpit. Have fun, people, have fun, and I'll see you in a couple of days. On which day exactly? Yes, that's right. I'll see you on Monday, the last day of the year, New Year's Eve, Monday. Make a date. See you then. www.mediaclick.hu. Bye.